So the videos that Olga sent me really gave me a multi-dimensional point of view, and I was also inspired by the environment in which Olga creates. And I want to say a few words about Olga. She is from Minsk, Belarus, and you can find her work on Instagram. It's art.senses.sail. So I find also Olga a very poetic artist because her description sort of matches with the poem that this dreamy character would bring, and I would like to read it for you. Before my dreams are turned to snow, before my dreams are turned to snow, I'll make a step into the light. I'm sorry, but I need to go. I cannot win this wisdom's fight. In winter stream of my desires, I close my eyes so you may see how hopeful thoughts grow dark through fires, and here's my life in misery. This mode of leaving you behind, in moist and misty endless world, it's just a tear that I can cry, it's just a soul that wasn't sold. These words are from Anna Yunus. It's a 2006 poem, but it's very suitable to this painting, and according to Olga, this is a sensuous, voluptuous, romantic, erotic, sexually attractive, aesthetically pleasing and pleasurable, and I do find everything that you, Olga, are saying here. What I love is how you chose to insert this character in the middle of these colors, in the middle of these textures, in the middle of this beautiful background that you masterfully achieved to mix. I think your mix, the texture you created by the mix, really struck me as a viewer, and of course I couldn't help but compose a romantic piece to it. And I'll play a romantic, very romantic piece to it that depicts a little bit of eroticism, a little bit of romanticism, and other elements that go along with it. Dear Olga, thank you. Спасибо большое. I hope you felt and that I did, at least in my way, did justice to the piece. And I hope you felt the romanticism and all the nuances that I described in words from what I saw translated through music. So thank you very much. After Olga, from Belarus, I go to a Swedish artist, and I will introduce her. Her name is Amy Ive, or Amy Ive Lindberg. Sometimes artists do have these art names, and I try to adapt to their concept so I can introduce them the best I can. But as far as I know, Amy Ive, or Amy Eve, my apologies if I mispronounce it, but when I get fluent in Swedish, I would love to pronounce it correctly. I'll show you a headshot of Amy. This is Amy in her headshot. And I will introduce three paintings. Unlike other artists who have inspired me immensely through many different paths and many different ways, Amy's paintings are, I would say, another realm of paintings because of their condensed texture and because of their maximized information that give me, at least me as a viewer. And I wanna, this is called Big City, by the way. So in this painting, I found 1,000 elements for me to be drawn by, and to me, I would compare this to a book. And not because of the amount of the objects or the houses, but if I see this from up close and I focus in chunks of it, I see all sorts of depictions that float like harmonics. They percolate just like the sounds of a piano when they go out in space and they create these images. They're involuntary. So I find this as a piece of music or as a huge novel of a book. It's a masterwork, I would say, Amy, and I can't stop looking at it, you know, from different points of view and different corners. And then what makes this even more interesting is that as a viewer, I completely missed some details that I found later, which made it even more fascinating, more intriguing for me. I noticed much later the tunnel, the bridge, and I was really fooled, I would say in quotation marks, by the beauty of the upper part. And then I forgot to look on the bottom where I didn't notice. It was like a magical fact. I went back to it to look at it. So I want to also show you the other paintings of Amy. Here we have another one. The black and white texture, it says something to me that I can't say it in words, but I'll try to do it through music. I love the meeting of the sky, the clouds, and I believe it's the rock with the water. It's just a great concept. I'll move on to the next one. This is a story on its own, and I want to speak to you hopefully when I meet you in person to know more details about this. Perhaps this was just a candid work, but I'm sure something tells me, my gut feeling, that there's a story. And I'd like to focus on this even though Big City was my first love, because that's what I first saw. I'll say a few words about Amy and then I'll go right into the music. So the first painting was called The Big City. And that painting is a story of my life, Amy. It says, every house has a special meaning. A person has a memory, an emotion, or a place I've lived or visited. The second painting is called A Brutally Beautiful Island. It's about the place she stayed at last year. She was isolated, beautiful, cold, and I was truly lonely, Amy says. The painting is one of my favorite spots on the island where I gazed, hoping for something else. And the third one, the one that you see in the background, is called Selena Amanda. It is in memory of one of the most colorful people I've ever met. She died last year, and this is my tribute to her and the love and beautiful friendship that Amy shared. So, Amy, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. I will try to combine all three paintings, but by focusing on the one that is probably more emotional to you, but also over the shadow of the big city. So here's an elegy that I want to dedicate to the third painting, but over the shadow of the first two. Thank you, Amy. I hope you felt the story in the music, and again, thank you for sharing such personal details. I hope this piece stays with you forever. Thank you. We go to a young, modern, and very original artist. Her name is Anisha Jain. She's from California, and I will leave Anisha to do her own introduction of her own style, and then I'll show you the painting. Here's a headshot of Anisha. This is Anisha, and here's the video of Anisha.
People ask, where do you find the motivation to do this? Why do you do it? I say, the answer lies in who I am. I'm an artist and an activist who drives social change and female empowerment through her art. I go by the name She Roller. The piece I bring today represents a woman taking ownership of her own body. How I choose to express myself is my choice, not to serve the male gaze, but for my self-expression. Whether that choice is to cover up or to not, it is me reclaiming my sexuality.
Anisha is a very feministic artist, as well as contemporary, and one of her paintings that struck me is Look Out. I find Anisha, I find you extremely talented, and you know, I have this fascination with also with the human body from the general point of view, be that a man or a woman or whatever it be. I think it takes a great amount of skill that I envy and I wish I had it myself. And I really appreciate it, and I can see here the originality, and I see the easiness with which you depicted beautifully this woman's body. And but overall, I love how you were able to express your own views, which I will read through your words. So Anisha says, a woman taking ownership of her own body. So this expresses a lot of strength, which I truly feel it through the posture that you decided to depict, or through the texture that you gave in the background, the way she stands. It just conveys that message. And how I choose to express myself is my choice, not to serve the male gaze, but for my self-expression, whether that choice is to cover up or not, it is me reclaiming my sexuality. So if you want to find out more about Anisha's works, as she said, you can go to her Instagram profile called She Roar, or she also has a website called redbubble.com/people/sheroller. So this way you can get acquainted more with her style. Anisha, I will play a piece for you, which I was inspired by the confidence. That's the key word that you mentioned. Anisha, I focused on the concept, but I also focused on really taking a trip to get to the woman's confidence, because I know that trying to stay loyal to that concept is really a whole journey on its own. So I tried to do a journey here through changing harmonies and coming back to the same thing. I hope you will enjoy the piece and you will make the connection, and you will feel what I feel with my music as I did feel towards your painting. Thank you, Anisha. We go to Howard Brass. Howard is he is an artist from the Regina region from Canada. The title of his art piece is Luce Estiva, or the Summer Dawn, and I will put the painting on the screen, and I will immediately get to play because I believe that it speaks for itself. It's a very romantic and a beautiful landscape. Here's Howard Brass, Luce Estiva, or Summer Dawn. Howard says cinematographers call the time shortly after sunrise and shortly before sunset as the golden hour or the magic hour. And Howard, I hope you enjoy the suite. I try to split it in two parts because I cannot avoid thinking the aftermath, you know, when the sun rises. So thank you very much for this beautiful piece. It was truly inspirational, and I tried to say more from the music. Thank you. We go to an artist from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Her name is Joanna Bellatier. Here's Joanna. I hope Joanna is going to be among us today here. But if Joanna is tuning in virtually, I'd like to say hello. So here's a headshot of Joanna. I will flip this to get a better view. And I want to go to a very interesting painting of Joanna, but also a very interesting title, which completely overflips everything. It's called Cesspooling, and I can see the curling of the energy here, and you know, Joanna, what really attracted me was your colors, your choice of colors, and the lightness with which you smeared it all over. It's truly captivating. Especially this part here where it gets a little bit more darker and you put more emphasis on the darker color. So I have a few more paintings by Joanna that I want to show. We have this other one here, and I'll tell you the titles precisely. I'm gonna go back to this one. So we have Cespulin, which is the one that caught me first, and the second one is the Copperhead. I want to say a few words about these paintings of Joanna. Cespulin was cultivated from the mixed emotions I felt at the height of the coronavirus pandemic. My yearning to create art in the studio and the inability to do so due to a combination of depression, anxiety, and restlessness invoked the need to create at home. And I completely could identify with that concept. And now that you told me the description, you know, I have a more or a better view or point of view to get deeper into the music and give it more colors. In Copperhead, she tried to convey this specific spiritual journey of the weaving of two energies, just like the intertwining of a textile or clouds swirling together. So you seem to be a modern spiritual artist, and I feel the spirituality and the lightness of your colors. That's what struck me. I would like to get to the piece. It's a very different piece. It's very unique, but I'll try to convey it to the best I can so I can get close to the image that you're trying to project. Joanne, I try to recreate the intertwining and the whirlpool that you were depicting and the feelings that you put in there. I hope you felt it and I hope you enjoyed it. And I would love to see more of your art. Thank you. Thank you very much. We go to an artist from, I would say he's a cosmopolitan one because a very mysterious one, as a matter of fact. I don't even know his name or her name. I'm not sure, but this makes it more intriguing. And the 7 artist with a very unique symbol, the number 7 and the word even, so we can complete it. The 7 artist, some very intriguing headshots. This is the first one, and here is the second one. It's a more reveals more. Well, 7 artists is an artist from Hawaii. I believe he or she has 2 residences, and then also Santa Fe, New Mexico. So, I want to thank you for being so willing to collaborate, even though through this shade of mystery, which makes it more intriguing and interesting. But I wanna get to 7 artists work. It's called My Valley, My Hope, which is a mind-blowing masterpiece. I had to come back to it every day. The colors of it, the story that this really evokes in my mind. It's like I could write a whole entire symphony if I could play multiple instruments at the same time. I see a lot of somber events happening. I see a lot of, it's almost like a hellish type of work, but yet I find some comfort. There's a river which gives me hope. There's I don't know, the color of the sky. I don't know if it's a bloody sky or a sunset, but the mystery and mysticism with which the Seven Artists leaves me makes it even more interesting. I'll also put here the video of it, and I'll say a few words. So this is an acrylic on canvas, but what Seven Artists says, the sun was setting and my skin was sunburned. I'm thirsty, tired, I want to sleep, but can't stop right now, and I'm so close to my goal. So it's a very energetic description, and I want to put it here on the background so we can get a true feeling of what the Seven Artists wanted to do. You can also, according to the information Seven Artists gave to me, you can also find a specific video which talks about this, or the process of the composition of these works by the Seven Artists. Thank you so much, Seven Artists. I hope to encounter you. It seems like you hide behind you a whole wide world, and I would love to explore it at some point. Thank you. We go to a British artist, English artist. Her name is Emma Pilkington, and I take advantage to say hello to Emma. I hope she's tuning in at this time. So I will show you first a headshot of Emma Pilkington. She is an extremely spiritual artist who is very inspired by the Christian doctrine, and specifically. And from what I gather, she's a great believer of it. And this is Emma. And here is the painting that captivated me, and I want to say a few words about it and also throw in Emma's words. The photo credits go to Ben Dunnington. Emma wanted me to mention this. So the painting is a question is a very recent one, her latest work, and it's a mixed media collage. It arose while she was cooking and heard the Lord say to Emma in her heart, "Just when you think you know the terrain, I bring a turning point." In my spirit, Emma says she saw a horse with its head being turned by its rider. When I read your description, I was thoroughly blown off because I could not see the horse. I could see a godly creature looming over nature. You know, the depiction of the flowers and their very fascinating shapes. Whenever I look at it, you know, I can't believe that now, after you told me the description, I see what you said. It makes it very charming. So thank you for this, Emma. And I will try to play something very mythical or something very divine, and I hope I'll do justice to it. Emma, the purpose of the piece was to describe this heavenly scene that you described here, and you know, I chose some very specific harmonies that would describe this scene. So I viewed it as a scene, and I hope that they really surround it with the right nuances. So thank you very much. After Emma, we go to a Scottish artist. Her name is Gail McGregor. Gail is an artist from Scotland. She is specifically, I want to be very precise, from the Isle of Skye North. The west coast of Scotland is a land that always has intrigued me, and I would love to visit, and hopefully I'll meet you, Gail. I'll show a few works by Gail. She's a very unique artist with very unique style, I would say, because very neat in her depictions and her textures. I could see that you have that you are affected by, or your work is heavily impacted by the environment. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is the feeling I get. I want to show a few more paintings of Gail. They're very Scottish. I find them very Scottish, Gail. They're beautiful depictions, but I will focus on the one that really opened the door for me to get introduced to you. The title of it is called Around the Woodlands I Go. So I will say a few words about it, and then I'll play a nocturne that I dedicated to it. So Gail says, I find a great pleasure in walking through woods. I love observing trees through the season, starting with spring, when the trees are just getting their new buds and beginning to grow after the winter. I'm also conscious of and appreciate the sounds and the smells that surround me, from beautiful birdsong in early summer to the crisp crunch of leaves beneath my feet as winter approaches. There's something uplifting about spring, its freshness from the bright yellow daffodils of rapeseed to the new buds that continue to burst into bloom, a wonderful new beginning. It's quite a poetic description, which helped me even more to solidify my piece, and I'll play it for you. Gil, I hope I was able to describe your joy and happiness going through the woods. You know, this was me imagining you as an artist, getting inspired by all these elements that you mentioned, going through this spiritual and physical journey through the woods, which took me on that trip as well. So thank you for this spiritual trip. Thank you. We go to an artist from Russia, another Olga, but this time Olga Menina, who has a very life-impacting story, and I will tell her story in a second, but first I want to show you Olga's picture. Here's Olga Menina. It's a headshot of Olga here, and her work called Memento Mori has quite an interesting story, has a life-changing story, which I'll try to compile in a few words. Olga is from Russia. She's from a place in Russia called the Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk, and this painting is the resurrection, is the rebirth of her soul. It's called Memento Mori, and it's a symbol of the rebirth of her soul. It was painted in a very strong emotional state, and that's when it starts, the story to become very deep. After a close person told her that no one needed her paintings, which is a very strong statement, and you know, being an artist, I could totally understand your sensitive side on that. So obviously Olga says it was very painful for her to hear that, but I guess this was a good element, because this kind of brought Olga even stronger. And it's worth to say that Olga says you can be a living body, but you can be a dead soul. And it was with this painting that she participated in the International Festival of Emotional Arts in May of 2021 in Moscow. And this painting took second place in a nomination called the Inspirational Illumination. And this sort of brought Olga's soul back. And I'm so glad it did, because this truly fascinated me, and I can't express this into words. I have to express this into music, and I will try to play this piece that is a little bit melancholic but also uplifting. Oiga, thank you for this. I tried to stay on the course of your painting, but I was very inspired also by how much this piece brought you back, you know, in terms of your soul. And I tried to write it, also dedicating it, a piece of it, part of this piece, to your triumph. And I'm really happy for it, and I want to wish you great success, and keep doing your magic. Thank you. We go to an artist from Kosovo. Actually, her name is Arieta Mala. And I want to say to Arieta, përshëndetje, faleminderit për veprat, më kanë frymzuar. Thank you, Arieta. She is she is a Kosovo-born artist, but she is based in the Netherlands. And I want to say a few words about Arieta before I want to show a headshot of Arieta here. Here's Arieta. A few words about her. The series of paintings that she made was during the COVID-19 period, and the name of the series is Life with COVID-19, which is very actual. It's our actuality, and I would say Arieta is a realist, but yet an abstractionist. So I'm fascinated by she's able to bring reality through abstractionism and symbolism, I would say. At least this is the way I see it. So I wanna put her works on the slideshow, and I want to play the music to them. There's some quite fascinating characters which Arieta finds through creatures, and I want to play a piece which is very creature-like. Arieta, thank you. It feels like the symbols that you've included here, they also speak, and I would love to hear you live to explain every single one. Hopefully we'll get to meet, and then you'll tell me yourself, and you'll narrate them as I play. I just get this feeling. So thank you very much for the original work. Thank you. It was truly inspiring. We go to our second to last artist. Her name is Rita Helen Vuori. I hope I pronounced it right. She is an artist from Finland. Rita, let me show Rita's work. It's a very poetic title, which leaves more to think. It's called It Happens. It's an explosive piece. The moment I saw this, I felt that this was an explosive piece because of its texture, because of its spread, and I wish if I can one day I'll want a mural of this on the wall of my home studio. It's very it conveys a lot of energy, and I'll show you another angle here. There's another one, which is from more from up close. It feels like a different world, like seen from an airplane. We're like a fantasy land, because of, I believe, through my analysis, is the maroonish or the pinkish nuance with the mixture of the shapes of the black lines and the yellow terrain. It's a beautiful combination. It's something that I would never think of, but I see it in your works, Rita. I want to say a few words about Rita and about her painting It Happens. Rita's a very precise artist, and I got a clear view of immediately once she sent me the description. So it's called It Happens. Rita worked on this many years ago in 2003, and it's a work that it's quite large from what I see the dimensions here. It's a very touching work, and I want to say that Rita is also a artist she's a very accomplished artist who, through my research, I've seen a few titles of a few exhibitions. I hope I'm not wrong about this, but always subject to correction. So, without further ado, I would love to play this prelude that I composed. It's called It Happens. Rita, I cadenced on this very ambiguously because I wanted to leave an open path to it. And, I hope you felt the spirit of the piece, which was a song. It was a song. And I loved it. It's one of my favorite pieces, and I'll keep on playing it. So thank you for that. We'll go to the last artist for this evening, or this morning, or this afternoon, depending on where you are. His name is Mark de Kievet. Mark is an artist from the Netherlands, and I want to show you a very artistic picture of Mark. Here's Mark. and he is an abstractionist. Very interesting way of naming his paintings. Sometimes I do that with my musical pieces. So this piece, the specific one that I'm projecting, it's called Abstract number 4849 or 4849. I love the spontaneity and the candid feeling with which Mark works. But I also want to mention a few words from Mark. Mark says that his paintings have no predetermined goals or specific themes. What he creates happens in which he remains fascinated by the interaction between textures and forms, colors and lights. This results in somewhat raw and powerful dynamic abstract artworks that arise as a visual reflection of the moment he's in, as he claims to be busy processing life. I love your concept. I do that with my music as well, Mark. But I love how this seems to me like it was already in your subconscious as something predetermined. It happens with me in music as well, but I know that you did this candidly, as you explained. Somehow this gives me a feeling of rain. I don't know why. I believe the little flowing lines over there that you put and the light shade. So I will play something abstract but romantic as well. And I hope this will suit it, but I can't help not playing it. Thank you so much, Mark. And with Mark, I want to thank you wholeheartedly. To thank you is not enough because the way you have opened paths for me, it's not possible to describe through words. I hope to meet all of you at some point and to collaborate with you. But I want to wish you success. I want to wish you all the best, and I want to wish you a lot of inspiration. Please keep doing what you're doing, and let's stay in touch because it's priceless for me to feel this type of inspiration. It's not easy to find it, and you have given it to me. So thank you so much again, and I hope to encounter you and your works again in the future. Have a great week.